South Africa, suffering a 36-goal loss at the hands of the Silver Ferns. But we are set for a start here between South Africa and the Diamonds. And South Africa in possession to get things underway. Nadia Hughes, she was one of the best for South Africa in the centre this evening. Played at wing attack on Sunday. Here's Musomi, the little general and playmaker for the South Africans. Looking forward to her matchup against Renee Hallinan. Free pass for Musomi. Holthausen having to work the ball around, pass after pass the Proteas. Good defence from Pratley. Mostert called for the step.
Really good patience there from South Africa, but it's one thing to be patient. The next thing you have to do is start to penetrate through the court, and great defensive work from Australia and a good touch from Susan Pratley first up.
Chelsea Pittman played only one quarter against England, getting the start at wing attack. Cox to put the first goal on the board, and she does. Good start from the Aussie vice-captain. Pratley in a goal attack. Contact against Kagu. Good use of the angles from the Australians. Pratley on the baseline. She's on the board too. Liz, what do you make of this Australian lineup? Very different looking to what we saw on Sunday against England. Lots of variety in this 7.
There is a huge amount of variety, and you've got players who can play in a number of different positions across the court. I guess the interesting thing is that there's not a real lot of height. Kat Cox is the tallest player at 187 centimetres, so defensively not a lot of height, but incredible mobility and agility and strength. And you just see then Bully and Gerard working together to come up with the turnover. So I guess what we'll see from the Australians, especially through the mid-court and the build-up, is just lots of angles being used, but a really good turnover there from Nyman. I thought she was a little overawed on Sunday against the Silver Ferns, so she'll want to come in and get the feet moving, have a really good crack at every ball that goes into Kat Cox.
Liz, I'm really surprised that Vanessa Marie du Toit is not starting for South Africa, considering the cracking game she had. 6 intercepts, 5 deflections, however 19 penalties, but she was a menace for South Africa.
She was, and she picked up 4 intercepts in the first quarter, and I thought it would have been great for the South Africans to run with her at the start and allow her to create a bit of havoc before the Australians got comfortable into the match.
Holthausen, she slots her first. South Africa are on the board. 2-1, Diamond Centre.
Yeah, good sign for South Africa that Holthausen has gone to the post earlier. It took a little while on Sunday against the Ferns to get into things. Nyman already getting into a real push and shove there with Cox.
Holthausen only had 4 goals on Sunday. Cox, the bounce pass to Pratley. Pratley converts. Pratley was a top scorer for the Diamonds on Sunday, 22 from 25 at 88%. Getting the start tonight against South Africa. Holthausen. Musomi.
A couple of times Musomi's got the ball and her first look has been to the back of the court. I'd like for her to get the ball and for her first look to be down court. You know, South Africa can't afford to waste time throwing the ball around. They've got to penetrate the court early.
Second spoil from Rebecca Bully. 4 minutes into this game, already making her presence felt against Boita. Cox sitting in front space, slips that ball through to Pratley. The understanding is slick between those two.
I reckon those two will be enjoying playing together. They didn't play this season's club games together. Pratley got the goal shooter bib at the Swifts, and of course we know that Kath Cox went across to West Coast Fever. I think Susan Pratley really enjoyed her time in goal shooter, but I think she'll just as much enjoy the time playing with her old captain as well. They're a great combination.
One of the best. Susan Pratley takes Australia out to a 5-1 lead.
Just seen the centre pass there. Hallinan and Von Berto just double defending Musomi. Their homework would suggest, obviously, that she's the danger. You've got to shut her down.
Well, time now to chat to the coach of the Australian Diamonds, Lisa Alexander. Lisa, a couple of changes to your 12 for today's game. Chatfield and Thwaites out. And an interesting starting 7. Talk us through it.
Oh, I don't think it's actually interesting. I think it's form. 7, definitely Kath and Susan in their starting positions today.
Lisa, when you're going through naming your 12 and naming your 7, are you looking at testing combinations, or you're also having the back of your mind managing your athletes through a very long series?
It's actually a balance of both. It's particularly for Bianca, we had to manage her load. There's no doubt about that. But it's also rewarding form and performance, and you don't muck around with that, in my view.
Looking at your opposition, you got to have a look at South Africa on Sunday. What do you identify as the danger areas for you in this game?
Oh, definitely any high balls will be loved by them. They like the elevated game, so we're going to play it around, use our timing, lots of balks, and hopefully lots of deception.
Thanks for your time, Lisa, and all the best tonight.
Thank you very much.
Lisa Alexander there, coach of the Diamonds. Rewarding players on form and performance. Good way to operate as Catherine Cox slots Australia's 8th.
Good way to operate. Good, all successful coaches would probably do that. It is interesting, though, she made the point, Lisa Alexander, that Cox and Prattley especially look to be her starting 2.
Susan Prattley, of course, was in the 15 for the Constellation Cup, but didn't get a run at all. And real sense of purpose about what she did on Sunday, and no doubt would love to have a crack against the Silver Ferns. It's been a while since she's been out there.
Yeah, and it is an interesting little byplay. Erin Bell sat behind Susan Prattley for a lot of the early part of her career at the Swifts. In the last year or so, she's actually got the nod ahead of Prattley, so competition for those two at all levels. Bell winning at the moment for Australia, but Susan Prattley was just fantastic on Sunday. And what a luxury for Lisa Alexander. You can start with the strength of someone like Kath Cox and then bring on the height and the finesse of a Caitlin Bassett. So great depth for the Australians in that shooting line.
Time that across court side to Megan Anderson.
Yeah, Dan, I'm just sitting here listening to Lisa yell out. I didn't realise she had such a loud voice, but she's really harping on the Aussie girls to have options in attack and to really stay man on in defence. So that's obviously what they wanted to do at the start of this match, to really put some intense and accurate attack out and really pressure the South Africans in the beginning of the match.
Thank you, Megan. An 8-goal lead for the Diamonds halfway through this first quarter. And picked up from Mostert.
Yeah, beautifully read from Mostert. The screen was set by Prattley. Really, obviously, she was going to go the baseline, but it's something that works for her 99 times out of 100. With Mostert reading that move to the baseline, though, it did mean that Cox was clear at the top. So Pittman just needs to just have a look and make sure she's aware of all of her options.
Great take, Renee Hallinan, from that ball from Gerard. It quickly finds its way into Catherine Cox. And she's 5 from 5. Pittman. Prattley and her ending up on the same space. Sorted out now. Prattley's down. Gets back up.
Just watch the byplay between Neiman and Cox. She's absolutely treating Kath Cox like a punching bag.
Certainly not holding back.
Well, you know, it's something you can go out and try and do. You run the risk, of course, that you fire the goal shooter up and she shoots every goal over your head. And I think, you know, it'd be just interesting to watch and see how that eventuates that little battle.
South Africa just struggling with the one-on-one defensive pressure of the Diamonds. Australia able to smother every move. Sideline throw-in for Hallinan. Gerard back to Hallinan. Obstruction against Nadia Hughes. Von Berto, Pittman, Cox. Good timing, good connection, good flow. Shot short, Mostert gets a defensive rebound to her name.
The penalty stats, interesting at the moment. 13 for the Proteas and just 6 for the Diamonds. So the Proteas have obviously come out, and you can see in the way they're playing, they're not taking a backward step, really want to take an aggressive style of defence to the Diamonds. The problem with doing that is if you're giving away penalties, you're giving the Diamonds set plays, and that's where they will punish you.
They had 76 penalties against New Zealand, South Africa.
Yeah, and it's good. They're a country that's really rebuilding after some glory days in the 1990s, and it's great to see them prepared to really take the body to these top nations, but you've got to be clever in how you do that. You know, you can't go giving away too many penalties. You've got to be prepared to contest every ball, and That was a better defensive work from South Africa. Didn't get caught up in the body and just worked hard, but it was cross-court ball that got him into trouble. Well done, Chelsea Pittman.
So a bit of scrappy play the last couple of passages from both sides. Looking to tidy up here. Nemend. Australia on the defensive zone through the midcourt. Let's see how South Africa can punch through it. They do it well through Holthausen. Back to Masomi, up to Boita. Bully all over her. Boita to the post. Thinks better of it. Holthausen looking to finish. She does.
Nice build-up then and a good confident release from Masomi to Boita. Boita's a nice, tall, strong shooter. South Africa could do well just to go the occasional long ball to her, especially when they're in trouble.
19 from 24 at 79% on Sunday. Boita, here she is again, on cue. Shoots up over Bully and sinks that one. Von Berto, good drive off the centre pass. Cox, big smile on her face. I reckon this South African defensive circle just getting under the skin a little bit of the Australian shooters with the late contacts. Pratley.
Dan, I really like to see the Australians mix up their defensive play. I think they're still learning the craft of playing that zone defence. It's one thing to set it up, it's another thing to understand where your space is and how you force the ball long. And the Silver Ferns do that beautifully as the space just opens up through the middle for the South Africans. But I like the fact that the Australians are trying different options.
Lisa Alexander certainly likes the variety as the Australians come charging through on attack. Von Berto, the free pass. 2-on-1 in the circle for Nemend. Pratley. Sinks Australia's 14th, 14 plays 4, a 10-goal lead, just under 3 minutes to play in the opening quarter. Hallinan almost. Called for the contact. Kagu the free pass. Masomi. Boita. Gerard, good back play on the centre pass. Contact call against Catherine Cox. Hallinan close again. And again.
Oh, great ball there from Masomi. And a really good take there from Boita. Boita just created that space then just by taking Bully out of the circle. I sort of saw the space and I saw Masomi wind up to throw it and I thought it was ambitious, but it was just perfectly executed.
Jumping up and down on the spot, hoping it made it to its target. She broke on the centre pass on that occasion. Cox wants to sink this one. Easy as you like, Catherine Cox. Pittman, quick interchange with Berto, fires it to Cox. Pratley, back to Cox.
Really good play. And if you want to know how to play goal attack and goal shooter, just look at these two. The first thing that they do when they get the ball is to look into the circle, look to set each other up.
Now do you use Boita, Krishna Boita over Bully. 5 straight for the South African spearhead. Mostert.
What a Mostert. She's built like a toothpick, but she goes in hard, doesn't she?
Certainly does.
And she reads the play really well. And I think because she's so slight, she's really hard to spot.
This is her 7th test cap, Carla Mostert, so a very young, upcoming player for South Africa. Made her debut earlier this year against Northern Ireland. Oh, big challenge from Monia Gerard. Sends Boita to the floor.
Mostert's only 181 centimetres tall, which is little for a circle defender these days, and especially when we're seeing mid-quarters like Kayla Cullen come in and play centre at 185 centimetres at 6'1". So, you know, Mostert's really holding her own.
Musomi trying to punch at the circle edge. Holthausen from downtown. She sinks a beauty.
Well done.
Marika Holthausen sinks one on the buzzer, and that is quarter time here between the Australian.
He's so good. Von Berto and Pittman are providing them with really great service. They're finding plenty of space, and they're being well rewarded by Cox and Pratley.
Speaking of space, that's how the Australians do it on attack. A quick centre pass play to score the first of the second quarter.
Just such a set-up play, isn't it? Pratley out wide. Pittman makes the way to the top of the circle, and then Cox on the dodge. It's almost the first sort of set-up play that you teach any underage team. The Diamonds execute it beautifully.
A couple of changes for South Africa in that mid-court. Musomi's gone back into centre where she played the majority of the game against the Silver Ferns. Nadia Hughes has gone back to wing attack. So just shuffling that mid-court around. Von Berto working well with Pratley. Cox trying to charge through.
Contact wing.
Cox, mid-range shot. It's good.
And it was good defensive work from the South Africans, and the Diamonds really had to play the ball around and work the angles.
Turnover here off the centre pass. So a throw-in for the Diamonds. Renee Hallinan to take it. Changes the side of the court to find Gerard. Pratley.
Obstructing wing defence.
Kagu called for the obstruction. Pratley, Von Berto, Cox.
Obstructing wing.
Australia out by 9. Oh, Gerard so close on the chase, but loose ball there from Chelsea Pittman.
Really good to see that even though the Diamonds have a commanding lead already, 19-10, the players are still prepared to chase the ball out of court, really want to do the hard work. And getting those defensive pickups or just chasing loose ball is something that the Diamonds have worked incredibly hard on the lead up to this series.
Liz, it looks like in the first, say, 20 minutes of this match, or however long we've been going for, that the Australians are really having a conscious effort to have a go at every single first ball. They're probably a little bit standoffish in the first half against England on Sunday. Different tonight.
And defence is something that we know that they've worked on. You know, you talk about a team reflecting the personality of its coach, and Lisa Alexander is very heavily weighted towards defence. And the Diamonds' defensive line, I think you can really see it, not only from the defenders but from the attackers. They're stepping up and making life hard for their teams, and I think it's no surprise that in this quad series we're actually seeing reasonably low-scoring games across every single game, and I think that's because every team is working hard, so hard defensively.
Oh, Von Berto.
Diamond outfits more than ever. That was a good challenge there from Von Berto. You know, you want your opposition to be wondering where you are every time the ball goes up in the air.
9th most capped Diamond in history, Natalie Von Berto. 72 test caps to her name.
Interesting call there. Boita called for contact, just trying to push Rebecca Bully off her.
Cox out of the circle. Winds up the right arm hook. Pratley. Trademark balk from Susan Pratley. Sluts on the second attempt.
Here, Kath Cox in the background. Well done, Pratley. Great take, Pratley. That's the value that Kath Cox brings to your team. Not only just her play, but she's so encouraging, talking to her teammates all the time.
Pittman fights off Kagu. Cox.
Contact, goal defence. Shut the pass. Back on, set back.
Contact
Stop.
against Mostert.
Good goal defence.
Pratley. Sinks her 11th. Both Australian shooters on 11 goals from 12 attempts. Musomi. Kagu. Oh, Moni Gerard. So close again. Holthausen swings it cross court to Kagu. Musomi. Holthausen again. Tries to find Boita and does. Time now to check in with the South African coach, Elise Kutzer. Elise, a slow start in that first quarter from your team. How are you seeing the match so far?
At the moment, definitely much better than our first match, especially on the contact, on the ball control. Our main aim tonight is to actually control our ball possession better, playing shorter, sharper passes. You can see that they have, there's much more urgency and energy with their attack. For me, important for them to play in this game, be highly competitive.
Elise, we've talked about your team being prepared to really go in hard in defence. It doesn't look like they're intimidated by playing against the world champion team.
Definitely, and the South Africans have fantastic character and fight in them, and we really want to do this well and use the opportunity to play against the top of the world and learn from it. And the first thing is you cannot back down when you compete at this level, and just to get that absolute tough, competitive character with these girls, and so that they can keep it for 60 minutes. I will be happy if they can just give them a good competitive game.
Elise, we saw on Sunday Lindy Lombard go down with what looked like a serious knee injury. Are you able to give us an update on how she's travelling?
Very, very sad. Lindy has an ACL. She's flying back on on Saturday, back to South Africa, and will be replaced. And what a fantastic young talent to lose on her first international tour.
Well, we wish her well, and thank you very much for chatting to us.
Thank you.
Elise Kutzer, their coach of the South Africans. What a tough break from Lindy Lombard on debut to suffer an ACL injury.
Yeah, absolutely. But you know, it's great that she's a young player and she's got a big future ahead of her, and ACL injuries are no longer career-threatening. She'll recover and she'll be back.
I love listening to Elise Kutzer talk about how desperate her team is to be competitive. What a great attitude to have up against the world's best netball team.
Absolutely, but that is the only way you improve. You cannot sit back and think to yourself, oh, I'm playing against the world champions, I better not go in harder, I better not do this. You can see from the way this South African team approaches things that they want to keep possession, they want to do well, and they want to work hard in defence for each other. Every time they turn the ball over, they're unhappy about it. They don't just expect it.
Time now to go courtside with Megan Anderson.
Yeah, Dan, in the Australian huddle at quarter time, Lisa was just, again, on the players about staying man on and really doing the hard work before the ball's coming to put a lot of pressure on South Africa in their attack. And in attack, they were asking the players to do a little bit more footwork to get off the body so that there wasn't so much contact, but also just to welcome the contact as well and not shy away from it.
Thank you, Megan. So 24 plays 12 here. The Australians in control halfway through this second quarter. Masomi, edge of the circle, goes over Bully to find Boita. Proving to be a good target for the Proteas. Can't sink it on that occasion. Monia Gerard, strong take. Here's Gerard again, links with Pittman, finds Prattley.
Finest contact.
Mostert the spoil, well done again. Oh, Hallinan over the top of Nadia Hughes. Still in the hands of the Proteas. Holthausen doesn't mind the long bomb.
Oh, and follows up with the rebound. Really well done. That's what you want every goal attack to do. Sure, take the long shot, but be prepared to get in there and do the hard work. So, well done, Holthausen.
Prattley.
Contact centre South Africa.
South Africa playing a really hard one-on-one style of game as well. You know, I find it sometimes hard to sort of define a South African style of play or an African style of play, other than they tend to be incredibly patient with the ball, and there's not a real turn and let go mentality, which means that they're incredibly hard to defend. You don't often get that ability to have a go at that long bomb. So, but defensively, they seem to have adopted a real one-on-one style of play, and I welcome that. I think it's a great way for them to play.
Rebecca Bully just getting an intercept for the Diamonds moments ago. They can't convert though. Boita sinks a nice shot from range.
We're sitting at 10 from 12 at 83%. Holtzhausen 4 from 6.
Contact centre.
So South Africa are able to make the most of the ball when they get it in the circle.
Holding goal defence shot the pass.
Mostert called for holding on Susan Prattley. Prattley goal number 14. is Masomi. Kegu. Masomi again. Holthausen. Hughes. Oh, good take from Boita. Shakes Gerard to get her in the air and sinks another.
Advantage, hold it, stepping.
Footwork called against Chelsea Pittman. The step. Here's a chance for South Africa just to trim into this deficit. Good quick hands from Masomi. So involved, certainly making Vomberto work on defense. And the shots continue to drop.
Really nice build-up then from South Africa. I like the fact that when something works for them, like a really long ball, they're not tempted to do it twice in a row. They'll go back to playing it just a short, sharp game, a possession game. Incredibly difficult to defend against.
Oh, Bully, well done, Rebecca Bully. Outstanding work from the Australian goalkeeper.
Advantage offside.
She's having to work hard. She's coming up with plenty of ball, but it's not an easy ask for her.
Great shot, Catherine Cox. Bit of a settler there for the Diamonds.
Advantage causing.
Gerard and Hallinan just reset the pattern. Here's Gerard. Long ball to find Vomberto. Picked up from Kegu.
Nice pick up there from Kegu. It's hard to look good at wing defence.
Masomi, free pass, Gerard out of play. Good touch there from Bully in the backup. Terrific hustle, Rebecca Bully.
Yeah, well done, Bully.
She was good against England at goal defence too. Bully, 3 rebounds, 5 intercepts, 3 deflections. In great form in the green and gold.
Chelsea Pittman just overcooking that. The build-up was nice, nice playing. Pittman's finding some really nice second phase space at the top of the circle. Just letting Hallinan and Gerard and Vomberto bring the ball down to her. Just a delivery that she's got to finish, though.
Bit of a battle in that Australian Diamonds midcourt for that wing attack spot, Liz. You've got Chelsea Pittman, Kim Green, Maddie Brown all trying to fight for that starting wing attack position.
Well, it is great to have that depth, and it's great to have that competition. That brings out the best in your players. We've talked about the Silver Ferns having all that depth in the defensive line, and for the first time in a long time, great depth for the Diamonds in the midcourt. Kim Green to be sitting there on the sideline, chomping at the bit to get on.
Missed Sunday's game with a foot injury. Kimberly Green back in the 12 tonight. Masomi to Holthausen. Up to Boita. Again back to Masomi. Maybe not intentionally. Bully tries again. Throw in for the Proteas. Holthausen up to Boita. Looking to bag her 13th goal. 13 from 15.
Contact goalkeeper. Shot a pass. Come with it. Come, keep coming.
Liz, we saw the Silver Ferns against England put out what we maybe thought could be their starting lineup for the Diamonds in the second half. Do you anticipate maybe Lisa Alexander doing something similar in this next half of the game to come?
It's hard to tell, isn't it? Because Bianca Chatfield's sitting on the bench, so she would be my first choice goalkeeper. Wouldn't shock me, though, if we saw maybe Maddie Brown come into that wing attack position with Kim Green in the middle, just to have a look at that.
So just under a minute and a half remaining in this first half. South Africa looking to put a few more goals on the board. Too much on that one from Holthausen looking for Boita. Bit too much heat. Throw in for the Diamonds. Bully to take it.
Why don't you ask Lisa Alexander what her top line is and see
if I get the answer this
lure
time.
her into your cunning trap.
Leave it with me, Liz. Boita shoots over Bully. Does well.
Diamonds contact win defense. Contact, goalkeeper, shut the pass. Yep.
Prattley, mid-range shot, steps it in. Good rhythm from the Australian goal attack. Under
Diamonds
30
breaking,
seconds remaining.
wing,
12-goal
wing
lead
attack,
for the
Australia.
Diamonds.
Come with her. Yep.
Just setting the penalty. Use Musomi. The Diamonds combine to come away with the defensive turnover. Gerard needs an option. Finds Pittman. Prime feeding position. And Cox slots that one. Top scorer on court, Catherine Cox. 16 from 17 for the half. And that is half-time there. It is the Australian Diamonds looking very, very good. Liz,
A bit lacking in intensity, and they'll be wanting to step it up and really stake a claim for a starting berth against New Zealand.
thank you, Megan. Couple of changes too for South Africa. Zanilia Mododana, the acting captain, in the absence of Amanda Myberg, of course, who is still injured. Mododana on a wing defence for the Proteas. Disappointing not to have Amanda Meinhardt, of course, the South African captain, on court for these first two games. Liz, she's of course got a calf injury, but hoping to play on Sunday against England.
Yeah, and she's spent a lot of time in New Zealand being coached by Yvonne Willering, so she's a player that I'm really looking forward to seeing on court.
So let's keep an eye on Chanel Gomez in these first couple of minutes and see what she does with her opportunity of playing for her country. Caitlin Bassett, new goal shooter on. Quickly into business, 2 from 2.
I think Erin Bell and Caitlin Bassett will really relish the ball that they're going to get from Green and Brown. Just that speed that both Kim Green and Maddie Brown bring to that centre court, and there's not only the leg speed, but the speed of the ball delivery. I think Bassett and Bell will really thrive under those circumstances.
Bully working on Boita.
Contact.
Buckets out.
Goalkeeper.
Rebecca Bully, the oldest on court for the Australians at 30. The rest, all spring chickens. A very young lineup here for the Diamonds. Oh, good take, Maddie Brown. Nice ball from Erin Bell. The speed comes on in the circle. Gets a good feed from Kim Green. Bell balks up Mostert, buckets out, gets a hand on the rebound, just helps that ball to find Caitlin Bassett.
Good start from Caitlin Bassett, 3 from 3.
Time is breaking.
But to give the South African defenders something to think about, a total change in playing style from Cox to Bassett. Very difficult to readjust when you get someone as tall as Caitlin Bassett coming on.
Just inside.
Bully called for the contact. That's the range that Holthausen likes. And that's why heels flapping on the edge of the circle. Sinks a great shot. Bell. Green, strong on the take. Good touch over the top to find Brown. Green again.
Contact centre and wing defence.
Erin Bell shoots over Niemand, misses her second.
Australia.
Just coming out of the hand a little bit hard in the first couple of shots for Erin Bell.
Yeah, and that's really generally her preferred range. She's really very reliable from there. So Erin Bell probably just waiting just to drop her first shot. That's when the confidence comes, when you turn around and your first shot goes in.
Oh, well done, Gomez. There's her first intercept. As a Diamond, one she'll remember, Bell.
Heart rate will probably come out of the stratosphere now. Gomez. Doesn't matter who you make your debut against, your first game, you really don't remember it because it's a blur. Your adrenaline just takes over. So well done, Chanel Gomez. A nice, classy intercept to stamp her authority as a player of the future.
Was there a moment in your debut, Liz, that you still remember to this day?
Yeah, not a glory 10. Oh, look, Joyce Brown pulled me aside at the quarter time and told me that I was playing for the team in the yellow, not the team in the red. We're playing against Wales, and I coughed up a few of the intercepts that I got.
Nice one.
Actually, I coughed up all the intercepts I got.
Even better.
So I was dragged, and Keely Devery was brought back onto the court.
I like it. Neiman out of play. Bassett to the post. Time now to chat once again to Lisa Alexander. Lisa, wholesale changes for your team and a debut for Chanel Gomez.
Yes, Chanel definitely earned the right for that. She trained very well this week and she's keen to go.
Excellent. Lisa, what were you, with a player like Chanel, no doubt her heart rate's going a million miles an hour. What's the last thing that you say to her before she goes on court just to settle the nerves?
It's very easy. Just do the simple things well. We've been preparing for this debut basically since she's been into camp. So it's concentrating on all the simple things. Get the ball off to the easiest option, work your feet, take front position, and she's already taken an intercept, so that's terrific.
Lisa, I just want to talk about your mid-court. You've got so much depth in there. How do you go about selecting your best two players in that centre wing attack position for the match against the Silver Ferns on Sunday?
It's definitely going to be a selector's nightmare. However, we have got that depth, so we can use it and exploit it. So it may be that we run two lines.
Lisa, at this stage, do you have any idea of who your preferred 7 for the match against the Silver Ferns may be?
Definitely not.
Can't get anything out of you. Thanks, no, Lisa. Appreciate your time.
Yeah, why Tomato refused to answer that, so good on you, Lisa, for not giving away too much.
All the best, Lisa.
Thank you very much.
Well, Liz, I tried.
You're a big donut from 2 attempts.
Got to keep persisting. Australians looking good this evening. Erin Bell. Bassett hits the deck, gets back up. Out to 19. Time out across court side once again with Megan Anderson.
Yeah, Dan, I was listening into the South African huddle at half-time, and the coach really wanted them to stop going backwards so much in attack and turn around and look forwards. But I'm just wondering why they've taken Nsomi out of centre, because I think that they get the most drive when she's in the centre position. So once again, they're struggling again. Now that she's back in wing attack, I think she's far better off back in centre for them.
Have to agree, Liz. Nsomi, if she could, she'd probably be passing to herself to get the ball to the circle edge, but she is such the general for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I will say she was the one who I was probably thought was the most guilty of getting the ball and looking back. So perhaps this is an attempt just to say to her, right, you're in the front line. When you get the ball, just turn and look. But the South Africans do look a little bit lost without her just marshalling the troops in that mid-court. The Australians have skipped out to a 20-goal lead midway through this third quarter. So a great start to this quarter from the Australian line, but I think the South Africans have probably played into their hands a little bit by moving Nsomi from the centre into the wing attack position. And you can see how far she's having to come up court to get the ball.
Here's Mostert just trying to get through this mid-court. Not going to happen on that occasion. A held ball call.
And it was that mid-court zone from the Australians that really held them up. In the first half when that was happening, it was Nsomi that was bringing the ball down court. Now that she's not available to them, there's no one else to bring the ball through.
Erin Bell breathes a sigh of relief as she slots her first goal. She's open at the post. Great drive. Terrible pass from Caitlin Bassett.
Well, Caitlin Bassett thought she was passing to herself. The idea was there, just the execution wasn't great.
Erin Bell, great defence. Back up from Maddie Brown.
Advantage, contact with attack. Contact, goal attack.
Bell just called for the contact, just trying to charge through Neiman.
Just a little bit scrappy here from both teams.
Done.
And it's Holzhausen that's called the timeout on the other side of the court.
Liz, this Australian team, we've spoken how much depth and versatility they have. Come the game against New Zealand, I suppose what New Zealand has in advantage at the moment is they probably have a more set 7 than what the Australians tend to have at the moment. Is this a good or a bad thing for the Diamonds, do you think?
Depends how they go against New Zealand, I guess. Some of the old school thinking that a good set 7 that gets a good run into games is a really important thing to have. But we just heard Lisa Alexander say that she might run 2 lines and she might go into the game thinking, well, I'm going to, at half-time, maybe make some changes. I don't know that that's a great thing, but Lisa Alexander brings a different style of thought to her coaching. She certainly likes to approach things from a bit of a different angle. So I'm really looking forward to the game on Sunday, actually, just to see how she does approach it, how she does look at her selections, whether she looks to run what she thinks is the best 7, or whether she wants to run a 7 that has one eye on the Silver Ferns, maybe to look at matching up player to player.
That game, of course, the Australian Diamonds against the Silver Ferns Sunday afternoon here on Fox Sports. England will then take on South Africa. The Diamonds in total control at the moment against the Proteas at the moment.
One thing that I will say about that, if you're going to run 2 lines, the Diamonds are in a really good position to do that. Defensively, I think it's pretty obvious who they're going to have to go with, but I do think that in terms of their mid-court, you know, the speed of a Kim Green can be brought on, or as the speed of a Maddie Brown. If neither of these 2 players start, that can be brought on as a real impact. And the other impact player they've got, of course, is Caitlin Bassett, and she's got a real ability to come into the game and just change things up, and she's a great finisher.
The World Championship hero, Caitlin Bassett. Erin Bell now starting to sink her shots. Got the hand flicking through. 2 from 5. Holthausen finds Boita, shoots over Gomez. Kagu. Neiman, Medadana, Mostert. Oh, Gomez. Hands just let her down there. Did everything right apart from rip that ball in.
Well, 2 intercepts, and that's her first deflection. So she settled into this game quite nicely. Really good to see a young goal defence prepared to do the work and really go out hard and contest that first ball, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
Spent the season with the West Coast Fever under Norma Plummer, and fair to say she was probably one of the best improving players from round 1 all the way to season's end. She played in every single game. Bully over the shot, brilliant.
Great timing there from Beck Bully.
As I was saying, Liz, the improvement of Gomez was really evident from start of season to end.
Absolutely, and she's a young player who we always knew she had this great ability to do spectacular things. The challenge for her is to actually do them consistently, but intersperse that with just pure hard work. Do the hard work on the ground, keep the goal attack out of the circle.
Holthausen. Boita over Bully. Sinks it up.
Yeah, good finish there for the South Africans. They seem to have found a little bit of rhythm again. I just want to go down to Megan Anderson on the sidelines. And Megan, we were talking earlier off air just about the difference in this South African team compared to when they first came onto the scene 15, 17 years ago, and what we really noticed. And do you just want to expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, I remember when I made my debut in 2000, I think, and that was one of the first years for them back in the world competition, and their skills were pretty poor back then. You know, they struggled to pass and catch and pivot properly. So I've been quite impressed with how much their basic skills have improved. Their shoulder passes, they rarely step, they don't drop the ball so much anymore. So I think they've really improved, and they're only going to benefit by playing against this sort of competition more often.
So if you were coaching them, where would you think that the main improvement for them can come from?
I think probably just reading the play a little bit better, and obviously they can pass and catch to a stationary person, but it's about picking and choosing the right times to pass what sort of balls. They're feeding some great balls into their goal shooter on the baseline, but it's knowing when to let those ones go and when to hold them back, and also in defence just to pick and choose their times on when to muscle up and when to stand off and probably go for an intercept rather than draw a penalty.
All right, you were one of the coaches at the Northern Mystics this year. If you could pick one player in the South African team that you can have, which one would you choose?
Well, considering that Tampara George has just retired, I'd probably go for Mansomi and get a backup centre. But I think the goal shooter's doing a great job. And, Katrina Grant got MVP the other day for the Ferns, but I thought she did a fantastic job on her last Sunday.
Good stuff there from Megan Anderson, ready to steal Mansomi for the Mystics.
Well, it's interesting. In this quad series, South Africa are the only team that don't have a player in the ANZ Championships, and you look at them and you think gee, you wouldn't mind getting your hands on some of them. Vanessa Marie Dutoy, the goalkeeper from Sunday, I'd like to see her turn up in the ANZ Championship somewhere. Bongi Musomi would be another one. Boito, as Megan mentioned. So, yeah, there's a number of players here who you think would thrive in the ANZ Championship situation.
Yeah, you put them in that environment and training with players of a higher standard, they would just absolutely flourish. Here's Holthausen.
Contact, goalkeeper. No
Another
goal.
good shot from range,
No,
not allowed by the umpire.
Yep.
Boito with the pass or shot. Borks Gomez up, strong rebound, Chanel Gomez.
Just like I said, the umpires play advantage there. South Africa did earn the shot.
Hallinan to Brown. Bassett on lead, circle open. The roll from Brown, unsighted from Kim Green.
Yeah, that was good one-on-one defence there from the South Africans. Just covered everything that Bell and Bassett threw at them. Forced the held ball.
20-goal margin at the moment. These two countries have met 28 times. 24 of the 28, Liz, the margin has been over 20 goals. So heading down that path again tonight.
Australia from the side.
It is, but, I mean, even though it's a 20-goal difference, you just get the impression that this South African team has just so much improvement in them. As Megan mentioned, their basic skills are sound, so they've got a good foundation on which to build their game. It's just getting, you know, used to the speed that the Diamonds and the Silver Ferns play at. You know, they're prepared to have a go defensively. We've talked about that a lot tonight. So the basis is there for a really good team in the future.
Great shot, Caitlin Bassett steps that one in. Operating at 85%.
Barnes breaking wings.
Bell working with Gomez. Green deep in the pocket, has to regather. Can't. And Neiman takes the throw in. Moster. Kagu. Here's Musomi. Good linkage through the middle to find Holthausen. Back to Musomi, working with Kagu.
What a great take.
Barnes contact.
So
wing.
athletic.
Contact centre. Corey, relay.
Holthausen, big stretch from Gomez, gets a touch on it too. Great defence, Chanel Gomez. Has another go, does Gomez. Boita. Slick shooting tonight from Krishna Boita, 20 from 25, 80%. The South African goal shooter. 10 seconds almost remaining here in this third quarter. Still a 20-goal margin.
Striking.
Make that 19. And that is three-quarter time here between the Australian Netball Diamonds and the South African Proteas. Is a 19-goal margin for the Diamonds. They lead 45-26. One of all these Diamonds players is they know that they are fighting for spots in the starting seven for Sunday's game against the Silver Ferns. They want to knock off the Kiwis, and 15 minutes here to state their case for their coach, Lisa Alexander. So Diamonds in possession, and a good intercept from Marika Holthausen.
Yeah, well read, Marika Holthausen. Again, just an example of that really good defensive style of play that the South Africans have employed. They've had a go at everything.
Good feed from Kagu up to Boita. And she scores the first of the last. Centre pass to follow. So a break of the centre pass here for the Proteas.
So no changes for the Proteas. There's been a change for the Diamond Zone. Monia Gerard in at wing defence for Renee Hallinan.
Musomi finding good space. Kagu. Here's Holthausen. Bully thinks about it. Gomez almost with the intercept. Boita. Rebound for Bully. The balance is good. So is the offload. Gerard first at it. Gomez back to Gerard. Green.
The thing that you really notice with this Diamonds line, especially when Monia Gerard and Renee Hallinan are in that wing defence, goal defence position, is just how much those two players drive and rebound the ball out of the defensive line. It allows the Diamonds the luxury of sitting their wing attack and their goal attack back a little bit so they don't have to do anywhere near as much work to bring the ball down. When you watch the South Africans do the same thing, their wing attack and their goal attack have to come a long way up court because they just don't have that ability through the defenders to rebound the ball out of defence, and it's a huge advantage that the Diamonds have.
Caitlin Bassett scoring the 47th goal for the Diamonds. Back to 20 goals the margin. Holthausen, oh, good touch from Gomez from behind, comes away with it. Unfortunately, Kim Green called for the step. Australians on one-on-one defensive pressure here. Kagu, oh, almost.
Kagu had the right idea, but Pluto had her eyes down.
There's almost a decapitation in that goal circle.
I was worried for half a second.
Madodana called for the contact. Free pass with Maddie Brown. Inside turn from Bell. Finds its way to find Caitlin Bassett.
Beautiful delivery there from Kim Green. Just put the ball so that Caitlin Bassett could move onto it. A nice strong take from Bassett. Oh. Hear the crowd saying, let it go. Just a lovely build-up then. Kim Green and Maddie Brown don't often get to play together, but when they do, they look like they were made for each other.
Good shot from Erin Bell. Sinks her 5th for the game, and that is her 100th goal in the Australian Diamonds since she debuted last year. So a mini milestone there for the Diamonds goal attack. Nasomi loving the work rate of the Proteas wing attack. She goes and goes again. Interesting to know, Liz, how many Ks she runs throughout a game. She is just on the go the whole time.
Absolutely, and her physical fitness is up there with any of the top players, top mid-court players. You can just see the amount of running that she does. Well read, Gomez.
Kim Green gives her a clap, big smile on her face too. Great support shown from the Diamonds players. Good pressure there from Rebecca Bully. Time out to check in once again with the coach of South Africa, Elise Kutzer. Elise, how have you seen the second half performance from your team?
Second half performance, we taking at the moment quarter by quarter, and the second quarter we lost by 5 goals, and the first one I think by 8, so it got better. And definitely the South Africans keep on competing, and the more they're going to play at this level, the more confidence they're going to get. And there's moments of brilliance that we'll take with us and definitely learn from the situations that we could have handled better.
Elise, just talk us through the move of Bongi Masomi from centre into that wing attack position. She's such a general for you guys down that front line.
She is. Bo is a fantastic, actually, all-rounder and such a strong character as well. But at the moment, we need a bit more solidness, and I needed somebody to take that second movement to the circle edge on wing attack. Tuli is doing her best out there, just controlling the ball, but she's actually wing defense. Our depth on that position definitely is getting to us now. But good opportunity for us to prepare for our England challenge, and to see we'll definitely put in the best combination when we take that on.
Krishna Boita, your goal shooter, has been a wonderful target for you guys. You must be impressed with how she's gone today against the Diamonds defenders.
Definitely, definitely. It can be really intimidating playing against the world's best. And just to get that for the South African team, to get them over that mental block that they are good enough to compete effectively. And as long as we progress, we're working with a good plan towards Commonwealth and World Cup. But at the moment, more good. I'm really impressed with the way they are definitely not satisfied.
Thank you very much for your time, Elise. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Elise Kutzer there, coach of the South Africans. Finding lots of positives in the performance of her team. Chanel Gomez, that's a positive on her debut.
Absolutely read that beautifully. She's reading the game well, but she's also committed to it and committing to her intercepts, and that's why she's coming up with the ball.
Not shying away from the contest, the young 21-year-old. Here she is again. Oh, Masomi, almost.
She's exciting to watch, isn't she? I just love her commitment to the ball. Really is a strong character within that South African midcourt.
Time to check in once again with Megan Anderson.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying watching both wing attacks, as you just mentioned. Mansomi just is running a mile and is really the general down there for South Africa, but also watching Maddie Brown on the centre pass. Her footwork is just amazing, and wing attack, getting out for the centre pass is one of the hardest things to do, and yeah, her footwork is so fast, and she's just amazing getting out there on that first centre pass.
Megan, who would your first choice for the midcourt be for the Diamonds for their clash against the Silver Ferns on Sunday?
Oh, you're putting me on the spot here.
I know, sorry.
From this game, I don't think you can pick the two mid-quarters. I don't think you could. You couldn't separate them. I thought in the Constellation Cup series, Nat Von Berto was a little slow off the mark, but she has improved a lot over the last couple of games. So you definitely couldn't leave her off. And Kim Green is always a competitor, and I think she's probably someone that you've got to have on the court as well. But having said that, Maddie Brown has played really well when she's had her opportunities, and I thought Chelsea Pittman had a great game today too.
So she's named everyone. Now, Liz,
Yes.
I'll put you on the spot. Who is your starting seven for Sunday?
I would go with Nat Von Berto and Maddie Brown. I thought Chelsea was good today, but I just think that Maddie is just finding such beautiful space at the top of the circle. The idea also is that I think I would have Kim Green coming on at some point during that game. I think she's so explosive that to bring her on midway through to run with someone like a Laura Langman or a Kayla Cullen, she'd be almost unstoppable.
And what about that goal attack position now as well? Nat Medhurst isn't there. Erin Bell, Susan Prattley are probably the ones putting their hand up. Who would you be slotting in that starting position?
I don't think you can go past Susan Prattley. I think she really showed on Sunday exactly what she's capable of doing, and then today to turn around and shoot 15 from 16 to back that up. So, yeah, I think I'd go with Prats.
Lots of interesting selection choices. We're looking forward to seeing how that unravels. The Diamonds in good form tonight. 26 goals they lead against the Proteas. Well, we've also got another guest joining us in the commentary box, and that's Bianca Chatfield. Bianca, thank you very much for joining us. I guess, firstly, what's it like being back in the Australian colours?
Oh, I'm absolutely loving it. It's such an honour to be back in the team, and, you know, I've had a bit of a break, and I certainly appreciate another opportunity out there.
Bianca, as you get older and you fight your way back into the team, you were so young when you were first selected for Australia. What's your selection like second time around? Do you appreciate that a little bit more?
Yeah, I think you do, and you just don't sweat the small stuff anymore. It's just, for me, about playing, and any chance I get out there to be on court, I'm just absolutely loving it.
Bianca, give us an insight into what it's like in this Australian team at the moment. You're doing a lot of work on your culture and your trademark and your brand as a team. You're building towards big things, obviously, for the next Com Games and World Champs. What's the feeling like within the side?
It is pretty good, and it is a work in progress as well. We can't just fix everything now and expect it to be perfect, but yeah, off court, we're putting in just as much effort as we are on court to making sure that this team is exactly what we want the Australian team to be remembered by.
Bianca, we're just watching with great excitement the debut of young Chanel Gomez. You must have worked with her over the course of this tour. What's she like?
Oh, she's such an exciting player. She's so nervous today, so it's great to see her out there, and she's taken more intercepts than any of us, I think, in the first test match. So she's having a blinder, and, you know, it's just so exciting. I always remember my first test match, and I'm sure you do as well. It's just something you'll never forget.
Bianca, you're travelling with a squad of 14. For each match, Lisa names a team of 12. Does this make the environment a little bit tense and a little bit tight for the players who are sitting on the cusp of making the team for each test? What's it like?
Yeah, I won't lie. It isn't easy. We're used to having only 12, so, but, you know, that's what you want. You would rather be here than not, so being part of a 14 just gives us more flexibility, and having 9 test matches to play in our international season is a lot to expect 12 players to cope with.
Bianca, great to talk to you, and all the best for Sunday.
Thanks very much.
Bianca Chatfield there, rested for today's game, giving the old girl the night off.
Oh, look, and it's so exciting to see her back in the Australian team. I think she's been there or thereabouts for a while, but has finally got the nod, and really pleased to see her win the Player of the Match award on Sunday. She's just a really good story, that she was almost a child prodigy. Played her first Test match when she was 18, and we all thought she'd have a long time in the Australian team, and then fell out of favour a bit and didn't get selected for quite a few years, and has fought her way back in, and just shows what hard work and belief can do.
I reckon she'd probably be the first one to say that when she missed out on the Commonwealth Games team, that would be the last time she'd come close to making an Australian team. So it really is a great story of persistence, like you said, Liz, and it's great to see her back in great form for the Diamonds.
Speaking of great form, Chanel Gomez, 5 penalties, make that 6. 1 rebound, 4 deflections, 3 intercepts, the most of, well, Australia have 6 and she has intercepts, and Chanel has 3 of them. So, and 5 possession gains. Rebecca Bulley, the only player who has more. So, what a brilliant debut for her.
We spoke a lot about the depth that the Silver Ferns have defensively, should I say. Now that we can add Corletto and Geitz back into the mix, we've got Chanel Gomez, another one knocking on the door. So, a great addition to the Diamonds fold, Chanel Gomez.
Frontage contact centre.
Boita.
If I had to pick just a facet that Chanel Gomez could improve, it would be just the working the ground. She just sometimes has a tendency, as young players do, when her player gets rid of the ball, just to turn and run with her. And the next phase for her, she reads the ball, the play beautifully. She commits to the intercept and pulls off great things. But it's just that ability to do the hard yards.
Kim Green just taking a deep breath in there. Sigh of relief that she's still alive. It was a risky ball. Finds Caitlin Bassett in great range.
Speaking of commitment, Neiman nearly committed to Kimberley for life almost.
30-goal margin, under 2 minutes to play here. The Diamonds looking to finish this match full of running. Nice touch feed there from Kim Green.
That's a real challenge when you've got a 30-goal lead, is just to continue to do the little things well, not to turn and think of the Harlem Globetrotters and just throw the look-away passes or the long balls. The Diamonds have to finish this game off in the last minute and a half. It's so important, because on Sunday, that last minute and a half might decide the match.
Absolutely. Caitlin Bassett at 92% tonight. Before her, Catherine Cox at 94. As to Susan Prattley, there's some form under the post for the Diamonds.
Well, Caitlin Bassett, 24 from 26. What a brilliant second half she's had, 92%.
She, of course, made her debut here in 2008 against England, Caitlin Bassett. So fond memories of this very stadium. Krishna Boita looking to get another one on the board to make the deficit 31. It's a convincing display from the Diamonds. 30 seconds remaining. Bassett for goal number 25 in her personal haul. Masomi looking for one more goal. 5 seconds on the clock. She goes to the post. And there you have it. That is full time. A very convincing display from the Australian Netball Diamonds. 32-goal winners over the South African.